And for some reason, like with our health, we fail to realize that it is a management process. But when we tie that into like our bank accounts or our household or even how we raise kids, right? We're managing them through different phases of their life. We're managing our bank account. It goes up sometimes and it goes down sometimes. Your health does the same thing. And so if we start to think of it that way and know that this is just a steady process up and it's not about hiding the symptoms, we're going to get a lot further. Welcome back to the Freedom Health Show. I'm Dr. Matt, and today we are going to explore a topic that is foundational to health, and this is gut health. You know, you've probably heard the phrases like trust your gut or your gut feeling, right? But have you ever thought about how the actual health of your gut affects your entire well-being? Well, in today's episode, we're going to discuss why a healthy gut is so crucial to everything from immunity and energy levels to mental clarity and mood. So let me ask you this question. When was the last time you considered how well your gut was functioning? Could your gut health be influencing a lot more than what you realize? So let's start with the basics. What exactly is gut health and why is it so important? You see, when we talk about the gut, we're really referring to the GI system, right? The whole complex itself, all the way from digestion to nutrient absorption, as well as waste elimination. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Your gut is the home to trillions of bacteria, fungus, and other microorganisms, collectively known as this thing called the gut microbiome. And this ecosystem isn't just along for the ride, but it plays a vital role in your health, from digesting food, supporting your immune system, and even influence your mood and mental health. So imagine your gut as being this bustling city with billions of citizens, and each one has a role in keeping things running smoothly. So when everything is balanced, your city of your gut thrives. But when the balance is disrupted, issues start to arise. So if you experience ongoing, say, digestive discomfort, low energy, or even brain fog, these can all be a signs that your gut are out of balance. So here's the question. Could some of your health issues that you're dealing with right now be rooted in your gut health? Let's dive into it a little bit, and we're going to see how your gut influences your overall health. You see, most people don't realize that gut health does much more than just digest food. It plays a significant role in managing inflammation throughout your body and even produces essential neurotransmitters that affects your mood, sleep, and mental clarity. So let's first talk about inflammation. About 70% of your immune system resides in your gut. So when your gut is healthy, it acts as a frontline defense system against harmful invaders like pathogens, toxins. The gut lining is designed to be semi-permeable, which means it's allowing nutrients to pass through while keeping out unwanted particles. However, if the gut lining becomes damaged, this is often called a condition called leaky gut. It's particles that should be contained on the outside start leaking into the bloodstream, and when this happens, the immune system responds back by launching an attack, which triggers inflammation. Now, the problem is this type of inflammation isn't localized. It isn't just in the gut. This can spread throughout the entire body and contribute to conditions like joint pain, heart disease, and even autoimmune issues. Essentially, this imbalance in the gut can lead to a chronic inflammatory state. And it's kind of fascinating to think that something like joint pain or fatigue can be traced all the way back to the digestive system. Okay, so now here's the question. Consider, could some of the symptoms you're experiencing, whether it's inflammation, joint pain, or fatigue, actually be just an underlying gut issue? But that's not the whole story. You see, your gut is often called the second brain of the body because it produces many of the same neurotransmitters as the brain does. In fact, over 90% of your body's serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter commonly associated with mood regulation and happiness, is produced in your gut. This is why a healthy gut directly affects the emotions and your mental health. Serotonin is a very powerful neurotransmitter that helps to regulate the mood, sleep, and even your appetite. So if your gut isn't functioning well, it can be a disruption in serotonin production, which may lead to mood disorders like anxiety or depression. So if we start to clean up the diet, what we would expect is you're going to be more calm. You're not going to be as agitated. But that also takes a little bit of discipline on your part as well to make sure we start cleaning up your diet. You see, the hardest thing about health that I find is that we have to learn how to manage it differently. And it's not just about taking a pill or really even taking a supplement just to hide a symptom, right? But it's about starting to do things differently. And for some reason, like with our health, we fail to realize that it is a management process. But when we tie that into like our bank accounts or our household or even how we raise kids, right? We're managing them through different phases of their life. We're managing our bank account. It goes up sometimes and it goes down sometimes. Your health does the same thing. And so if we start to think of it that way and know that this is just a steady process up and it's not about hiding the symptoms, we're going to get a lot further. But when your gut is messed up, and think about this, your gut is the second brain of your body. If this is not balanced properly, how are you going to get over these emotional feelings, these stressful situations? It really comes down to making good decisions from the start to get your gut cleaned up, and then it just starts to compound on itself. So this isn't just about serotonin, though. The gut also produces other neurotransmitters like dopamine, which is involved in motivation and pleasure, and GABA, which helps reduce anxiety and promote calmness. So when your gut health is compromised, it can lead to lower production of very critical chemicals in your body, affecting your overall mental health. And isn't it incredible to think that your gut actually has such a strong influence on so many areas of your mental well-being? Research continues to show that individuals that have good gut balance, or individuals who have gut imbalances often experience much higher levels of anxiety, depression, and even brain fog. Studies suggest that when we support the gut, we reduce the inflammation, we're also supporting mental clarity, emotional resistance. The one thing I hear from patients all of the time, especially when we start detoxifying their body and cleaning out the inflammation, the chemicals in their system, they're like, oh, I've got so much more energy. Well, no kidding, right? You're cleaning out all the garbage that your body is trying to move through, and it takes energy to do that. So if you remove all that, now you're working more efficiently. All these patients that come in that have been stressed, low energy, not sleeping very well, they're losing focus. Once we start healing their gut, now all these things start to improve. But here's the reality. We are still faced with a tremendous amount of pressure, because every time you go to the grocery store, you see those ads that come up. You see those areas in the grocery store with all of those cookies and Oreos and Doritos and chips and all this stuff that, man, you used to eat all the time, and I'm just going to try it just once. But even just that once is going to throw you into a spiral downward oftentimes, I know myself. I love chocolate, and I know there's people out here listening to me too that love chocolate. And so when you have that one piece of chocolate, how often does it lead to 2 or 3 or 4 pieces of chocolate, right? I know myself, and I know I have to keep this stuff out of the house, because if it's sitting there, I'm going to grab it. And so you have to find what's good for you and set those boundaries. But let me ask you, have you ever noticed that when your digestion is off, that so is your mood? You're feeling a little less motivated. Your energy seems low. It's something to think about, because this connection is very, very real. And I experience it myself as well. I know when I'm off track and I got to get back refocused again, that I've got to start with my diet. So by taking the steps to support your health and the health of your gut, you could be making a huge impact on your life mentally and emotionally. So now that we understand the vital components to the gut, understand that it's linked both physically and mentally, let's dive into what's causing these gut imbalances, because there are several different factors, and that we need to understand in order to take the first steps towards really improving things. So first and foremost, diet plays a huge role. Diets full of high processed foods, refined sugars, unhealthy fats, they all tend to feed the bacteria in your gut while depriving your body and even the good bacteria of good nutrients, okay? So sugar, for instance, this can be particularly problematic, and it can feed certain strands of bacteria, yeast, even parasites that create inflammation and even make this gut permeability even worse, setting the stage for leaky gut. Fiber, on the other hand, acts as a fuel source for good bacteria. So this is where, like, you always hear people, eat your vegetables, eat your vegetables, eat your vegetables, right? Why is that? So it's so you get that fiber in your body to feed these good bacteria. It makes it a lot harder for the bad bacteria to come when the good bacteria have the nutrients to survive and thrive at its highest level. You know, these high sugar, low fiber diets that are just rolling out the red carpet for harmful bacteria, parasites, and fungus in your gut, and it creates this toxic gut environment. But here's another major factor that's important to recognize is medication, particularly with antibiotics. You see, antibiotics can be life-saving, and I get that. There's a time and there's a place. We don't want to discriminate when that is needed to get you out of an emergency situation. So we have to realize that, right? There's a time and there's a place. But antibiotics don't discriminate either. They're going to go after the good and the bad bacteria, wiping out the beneficial ones along with the harmful ones. And so this leaves the gut vulnerable, and it often leads to the overgrowth then of yeast or pathogenic bacteria. So think of it like you're clearing the garden bed of all the plants, and you left the soil and there afterwards, and now it's easy for these weeds to grow just as it is for flowers to grow. And it's not just antibiotics, but over-the-counter medication like NSAIDs, okay? These can also irritate the gut lining, lead to increased permeability. Long-term use of medications can be harmful, especially to the gut health. So what you're doing is you're setting off this cascade of inflammation, and now it extends throughout the entire system. This is not oftentimes just like, oh, I sprained an ankle, I have pain in my ankle. But here's the thing, when your whole body feels bad, you don't think about focusing in on or that there's really a problem, okay? And focusing in on that one area because you're so used to your body feeling bad. That's the thing I hear all the time from patients is, man, I didn't really know how bad I was until I've actually felt better, okay? So it's easy to see how we can put our bodies into this situation and not even realize the direct impacts that it has on our gut because it happens systemically across the entire system. So it's almost taken as, oh, it's normal. I'm tired. I'm fatigued. I'm always a little stressed throughout the day. My joints hurt, okay? I'm used to that. It happens every day. So you see, these things become normal. And just because they're common, it doesn't mean that it's normal. You know, it's become common today for people to break down more rapidly as we age, but that shouldn't come to a surprise for a lot of us because we've been beating up our body for years. So we have to understand where these stressors are and start taking action steps to change it now. You see, when there's stress, this puts off cortisol in your body. And cortisol is a hormone that in small doses can be helpful, okay? In problematic situations, it can be helpful because it can get you out of that situation. But high cortisol levels for long periods of time weakens that gut lining, and it can make it more permeable, more inflamed, and this disruption in the balance of those microbes gets suppressed by this cortisol that's out there in your body. Now, let me ask you, have you ever heard of this gut-brain axis? The gut and the brain are in constant communication, influencing each other. So chronic stress, now we get into this vicious cycle where the brain and the gut send signals back and forth to each other, and this is leading to these digestive issues, mood imbalances, and really systemic inflammation. So we've got this cycle that's happening. You eat bad, it upsets your brain. Now you've got an emotional stress coming in, and it's now disrupting your gut. So there's not like one path that we have to take in order to get in the right direction. It's a collective of working on the body as a whole. So whether it's due to diet, medication, stress, or an imbalance from a host of other triggers, my question to you is this: do any of these sound familiar to you in your life? And what action steps are you going to start taking to start turning that around? That is the real question, okay? You have the knowledge, but are you going to take the action steps? So we know now that when we throw this gut out of balance, it affects you mentally. It affects you physically. But what steps are you going to take to rebuild, repair, and heal? Well, first and foremost, dietary changes. Get rid of the sugar. Get rid of the processed foods. Whole food, high fiber. This is just going to make a world of difference. Now, some people are way beyond that, right? Where the rich foods like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, they're going to be good for the bacteria, but they're just not enough, okay? Maybe you need to actually rebuild that gut even more. Maybe you got to kill some stuff off, okay? And so there's some foods like yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir. This can actually introduce good bacteria into your body and help to replenish the bad ones. And it helps to reinforce your gut and bring the good troops in to create harmony in the digestive system. Now, the other thing is you actually may need, and this is the thing, as we age, you don't make as many digestive enzymes. So after the age of 40, really, most people need to be taking some sort of digestive enzyme. One that I really like and I use with a lot of my patients as well as on myself is Zypan. It's through standard process. It's a whole food vitamin. But you take 2, 3, sometimes 4 Zypan while you're eating. Over time, that's going to help to digest that food, break it down, and it's going to allow your body to start absorbing these nutrients better. But if your gut is compromised, you're not producing enough of these enzymes, which most people later on in their life, because of our food that we've eaten, because of the stress that we've had, we've broken down our gut, okay? So we need that extra support. And so Zypan is a fantastic one. Another one is Multizyme, okay? Multizyme is one that helps to break down fat, amylase, breaks down carbohydrates, and so it helps to ease some of those digestive issues that people are having. And then if you do have maybe some gluten intolerances, Enzicor through standard process is a really, really great one. And I had a patient who was struggling with bloating and indigestion after every meal. So we incorporated in a little bit of Multizyme and a little bit of Zypan into her daily routine, okay, with what she was eating. And she noticed significant improvements with her body, okay? She was digesting more efficiently. She felt lighter, more energized, and she was having good bowel movements again because her body was digesting it well. So if you're interested in learning more about these enzymes, maybe even just trying them out for your body, you can get them at our website at lifeworkskc.com, and you can just order them right on there. Standard process will send them to you, and they're not expensive, and most people don't realize that by taking some of these enzymes, it can make a huge difference in your health, okay? So as we wrap up today's episode, I want you to understand that your gut is central to your health, okay? It's the second brain of your body. It is a huge inflammatory source to your body when it's not balanced, but it can also be a huge promoter of health when it is. It can balance your mood, energy levels. Your gut plays a foundational role to this, okay? So are you giving your gut the support it needs? My challenge to you today is start with one small change with your gut. Start adding more vegetables with each meal. Try fermented foods. And here's the thing. If you get frustrated and you have a holiday and you get thrown off for the holidays, that's okay. It happens. We're human. It all happens, right? We have so many extra stresses coming into our life that it happens. Just don't beat yourself up about it. Start on Monday again and start getting back in the right direction. Keep recognizing the changes that are happening in your body, okay? Remember, small, consistent actions make a big difference over time. So, Hey, I want to thank you for joining in today to the Freedom Health Show. We're going to continue to explore different topics. If you have a topic that you want me to talk about, go on to our website, send us a message, and we'll start adding that into our podcast and our shows. We're here to serve you guys. We're here to get you guys a different approach, a different mindset on health. The 6 inches between our ears, that's the biggest thing when it comes to health. The tools are out there. You just have to start taking the action steps. And sometimes we just need a little push. So keep tuning in. We're going to keep these podcasts coming out. If you haven't signed up for our email newsletter yet, go on to our website, lifeworkskc.com. You're going to be able to sign up for it there and get all our updated information. You guys have a great day.